Welcome back to the Life Currency Podcast. I'm your host, Bob Lozano, and we have a special treat for you. We're revisiting powerful voices from TEDx McAllen, a token series. Get ready for some life currency. What's going on, Bobby? Thanks for being on, man.
My pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank
appreciate it. Your day going okay?
Yeah. I had a lot of nerves coming into this because I'm used to singing, not used to speaking. And so it was 16 minutes by memory. So this past week we went to Disney. I took my wife and my boy. So I was in Disney lines trying to edit my speech and trying to learn it. And so it went well, though. Thank God.
Yeah, that's good, man. I'm sure you crushed it. The memorization thing is kind of interesting, right? Versus talking versus singing. And I guess the melodic side
very
of the
different.
song.
Yeah.
Very
Music
different.
for me is a crutch, right? So I'm able to learn the music a lot easier. So I don't focus so much on the words. It's a lot easier for me phonetically to memorize something. Speaking is tougher for me. Yeah.
I've always wondered about that. So can you speak a little bit about, like, people talk about that flow state, or when you're performing? I mean, are you thinking word for word, or
No.
you're just feeling?
If you're thinking, you're gonna mess up.
Really?
Yeah, you have to feel it.
Yeah,
it's kind of one of those, like, a subconscious thinking. You're not actually thinking. If you're listening to the words and going, "Oh, I'm saying this and I'm feeling it," then what's coming next really can throw you off. So
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you gotta get in the zone.
I'm sure. I'm guessing it's like anything else. You got off days or good days, or
yeah,
or are you more tapped into that kind of feeling?
Touring gets you more in a routine, so you become routine based, which is a good thing, because you don't become as emotional, and it's not. If I'm singing in front of 30,000 people or 50,000 people, it's the same if I'm singing in front of 50. Because I don't give it that importance, because if I do, then in my mind, it's a bigger deal and I get more nervous. So it's better to stay even keeled, not to ride the highs too high or the lows too low. That's
a really interesting topic. I'd like to segue into that. You talk about routine, but you're in an industry where it's kind of a creative industry, right? And you're an artist. What would you share with aspiring artists or younger artists that are trying to find that balance of routine versus, being the rock star?
Well, first, the goal should never be to be a rock star. That's a big mistake a lot of people make, especially young kids sometimes are focused on the results and not the process. Being successful in the music business, it really depends on the hit. That's the most important thing. And too often, there's too many things that people focus on that don't have to do with the song. You're like, oh, I got to go record it at this studio, and I have to use this musicians, and the arrangement has to be this, and my image has to go like this. Truth of the matter is, the most important thing for an artist is finding a hit that connects with people. And everything flows from that. If you have the hit, everything's easy. Everything falls in place, right? And so that's my advice to anybody trying to do something. And when you find a hit, it's doing something also that's different, out of the box, something that people can relate to, and it's not easy. It's not an easy game. If it was easy, everybody would be famous and have success in it. It's not. It's tough.
Sure. How do you balance putting out what you feel or your team feels, what people want to hear, versus what you experience and want to share?
It's tough. It's tough. Years ago, I decided that I wanted to be successful in this business, and the success comes at a price. And that price sometimes is not doing what you want exactly. It's what the people want and what connects with them. And so I know a lot of frustrated artists that are doing what they love and they can't get any traction, right? So I was born of musically speaking in the golden age when we used to do music with a band. There was no digital world. There was no editing. You had to perform it. And back in the day, music could actually develop. A song had an intro, It had the meat and potatoes of it and had the outro. And now because of social media, everybody's so distracted with things that now you have kind of a bubblegumish a sound. You know, the radio says, get to the hit right away, get to the hook right away. So the songs don't really stick as long. They don't last as long because they're made to just come in and go out. You know, they're really, music right now has become very disposable. And it's sad. I hate it. That's why I don't put a lot of CDs out because I'm not too happy with the way music gets consumed now. But it's the way of the world. So yeah, I got to listen to songs and listen for those hooks because if not, you won't get any traction.
You know, I think that's a good segue. A lot of our listeners are multi-unit operators, right? People that we do business with or friends or family, et cetera. And even in your industry, there's that business element, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Do you feel that came naturally for you, or did you have a mentor in that side of it? Or?
It did. No, you know, my dad is one of the world's worst businessmen. He's a great singer, and he actually is a music major, so music's his life, but business is not his forte. So I probably got that from my grandparents that were more business oriented. But it is a business at the end of the day. Like I told you, I don't ride the highs or the lows so much. I stay even keeled.
Yeah.
So in my industry, a lot of times music is performing and all that. It's a party. You know, people are drinking their beer and yeah, man. And I never saw it that way. I always saw it as it's my job. I got to be good at my job. I got to be on point. I got to sing good. I got to be ready. And I'll have a beer with my friends after, right? But when I'm working, I'm very disciplined in everything I do in my life. And so if I got to sleep more to sing better, I do. I don't drink caffeine on days I'm going to sing or days before because it affects my vocal cords. And so there's a lot of things that go into it for me because I'm 51 right now. And so if you ever want to have longevity, you know, if you were younger, you could party, you could do all this stuff, and young people get away with a lot of stuff. But when you get older, the body doesn't forgive. So you got to be that much more on point to stay there.
I like that, man. There's some, I mean, that's some realness to what you live through day in and day out. You hit on the emotional topic, and I'd like to circle back to that, you know, and trying to find that balance and not ride the highs and lows. Is there something specifically that's worked for you to be able to keep that emotional balance? Or,
you know, I believe it's keeping your feet grounded. You know, early on in my career, I'd walk out and there was thousands and thousands of people, right, going crazy with my music, and I would get really high. And after the show, I'd be like super low, right? And I didn't like the way that felt. So I started training myself to just don't react so much, and just try to stay balanced. And over the years, I developed that ability to do that, and it's helped me out really, you know, to be able to perform in even with friendly crowds and rougher crowds, you know. So sometimes you get a rough crowd, you know, you go to a place like Michoacan or something, and it's like the interviews are, I mean, the people they're tougher, man. And it helps you to be more grounded.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think that's such a valuable asset to have, you know, that self-awareness and to be able to
in
keep
life.
yourself grounded.
Yeah,
exactly.
in general. Yeah.
Exactly. If not, man, it kind of chews you up and spits you out, you know? You hit
That's
too many
exactly
highs
right.
and too many lows.
That's right.
You know, you mentioned Michoacan. Talk to me about Monterrey. You sold out Coca-Cola out there?
Yeah. Yeah. I was the first artist to perform at that stage, that venue, in my genre. Nobody had performed there, and we did really well years ago. It was a big accomplishment in my career, and they adopted me.
It's a big milestone.
Yeah, big milestone for sure.
That's cool, man. That's cool. You know, there's something about concerts where you can just feel connected to the artist, and I'm talking from this side, right? Or the artist feels connected to the audience. You feel like there's areas where you feel more connected with audiences, or
yeah. There's, you know, I don't have I don't have a set list.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's cool. I did not know that.
I do not have a set list. I have a guideline, like first 3 songs of a concert, and then I call audibles. I'm like Omaha, right? All throughout the concert, because believe it or not, while I get up on stage, I am studying the crowd.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
And I'm seeing what makes them tick and what could get them going. And so I take on a journey, and I call the songs with signs, and that's how we do it.
That's cool, man. I did not know that. I love that you shared that. You know, we were talking, you mentioned audibles, and it reminds me of your brother. Great guy. I got the opportunity to know him
Mark,
as well. Yeah, and train with him. That was cool. But I mean, I know he trained, but you also played a lot of sports, huh?
No, I mean,
Basketball?
no, not really.
No
No,
basketball?
no. I loved baseball and football, but Dad made me quit. You know, when I was in junior high, the coaches would get mad when I'd go to band practice, and the band director would get mad when I'd go to football practice. And so I was having that dilemma, and my dad says, "You know what, son? Quit football." And I'm like, "But I really like football." And he says, "Son, look, you're Mexican, right? We're not that big and we're not that fast. And I'm a singer, and your family's on your mom's side, they're all singers. So you have a musical ability. Stick to that." I was heartbroken because I didn't want to like quit football because I loved it. But he was right. He
What
was in
age
line.
was that?
I was in junior high, so probably 15 years old, something like that. Yeah, 14.
Did you have aspirations of sports at all, or
No.
just kind of playing it?
Listen, man. I know my limitations. I'm not the world's best athlete, but I'm also not the world's worst. So I'm just okay. You know, I love sports. I follow sports very closely. So, but yeah, athletically, I play golf. I love golf.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's my sport.
Yeah, golf is interesting, man. There's
some people
really
say it's not a sport, right? But I think it is.
Oh, hell yeah, it is. It's very competitive.
You got to be really coordinated to hit that ball.
Yeah,
make it do what
you get tired.
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool, man. You ever played? You have a favorite course or anything?
Oh, geez. I mean, my bucket list item to play is Augusta National. I won at the Vamos tournament. I won a trip to Pebble Beach with my wife. And we actually went and played over there. That was really cool.
That's awesome.
That course is majestic. It's so awesome.
It really is, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Monterey Bay.
That's cool, man. Did you have good weather when you were out there?
You know what? We had good weather 2 days, and the third day was at the end of Spanish Bay, and there was a monsoon, man. We got drenched, and we tried playing through it, but we played about 4 holes, and we'd walk, and it's squishy, and then it's cold. So we quit.
That's cool, man. Yeah, golf is a cool sport. It teaches a lot about yourself. You know.
Oh yeah, sure does.
Yeah. So going back to knowledge that you want to share with listeners and that business side of it, is there anything that you felt gave you a big return as far as the business side? Was there some a culture piece, a technology piece, or an investment you made that you noticed there was just a significant more return?
There was a lot. Yeah. I mean, you have to keep in mind, like any other company, right? It's all about profit and loss.
Yeah, exactly.
I find that a lot of times in the industry, vanity gets the best of you. And so a lot of artists want to be seen in the most whoa life, right? So they'll kind of compensate for that. But I've never been motivated by that type of thing. So I want to bring home money after I go sing. And so there was a time when a record company that I was signed to wanted me to resign, and I still had 1 year left on it. Mm-hmm. And they threatened to not promote my last CD if I didn't sign with them. So I basically told them to F off, and I hired a radio promoter myself, and I paid her money to go visit all these radio stations and promote me out of my pocket. And that was one of the best investments that I ever made because it kept me alive during that year. I was out there with music and everything, and it was an investment that I had to make, because if not, te congelan, right? They'll freeze you. And then once you lose momentum, that's when the downfall starts. And so I've made several investments, and that's one of them that comes to mind.
That's neat. Yeah, your ability to rely on your own business intuition and be able to pivot.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's cool. Let's switch gears here, man. Yeah, Tejano music, it's awesome. It's good. It's good sound. I think a lot of people resonate with it.
Yeah. I mean, look, we peaked in the 90s, no doubt. And it was because of investment. These big labels came in and we're spending a lot of money on the artists. And but then they picked up and left to the regional Mexican, and then Tejano became more and pop. I mean, a bunch of the artists that didn't know the promotion aspect was taken care of by the label.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd put out the money, promote the artists, they'd sell records, and the artists would have packed gigs. But they'd even get you good songs, because that's a big important part, that the label would also go find good music. But when they left, the artists around here didn't know what to do. So you don't have that investment, you don't have that support structure.
Mm-hmm.
You got to build it on your own. And most of the Tejanos, that's not their forte. And so that's why we're kind of in a position right now that there's a lot of talent out there. We just have to develop the business sense of it.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And once we do that, trust me, we're going to have a big resurgence. I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I hope so, man. That's great. I love to hear that. You know, the business sense and the culture piece, that's so important. Something we talk about often is non-negotiables, things that we're not going to negotiate in our business. Are there things for you, Bobby, that are non-negotiable within your own, household, or whether in your business or friends?
Course. For sure there are. I believe in limits, and you got to have them in life, right? Throughout my career, a lot of times you can get caught up in the whirlwind of stardom, and that's been something that I've never really got caught up. They would come and say, "Hey, this famous actress wants to be seen with you at a restaurant," and they'll take pictures and be talking about you being with her, and I'm like, I'm not interested, because I always wanted to be known for my music, not the scandal. So I never really compromised that part of my life, where I used my life, my personal life, and other things. That, to me, that's kind of clownery, to go out there and, try to promote yourself shamelessly doing other stuff. To me, my music has to speak for itself, and I've ridden that horse. And yeah, you know what? I probably didn't get as big as I could have, but I think the respect that people have for me long term is more steady than if I would have done stupid stuff.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
and you didn't lose yourself along the way, so it's great.
I did not. No, I did not lose myself.
Yeah, that's great.
I love going out to the ranch. I think that I look at society and I see that we're very engulfed in consumerism, and I've given speeches at schools, and the kids, the two most asked questions from kids is, how much money do you make and what do you drive? And I always tell them, that isn't the real world, and that's not important. You got to do what you love and be good at it and be passionate about it. But I've never been that kind of artist to try to flash, I have this money, or look at me. That's not my style, and I think I'm better off because of that.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, hence why you're here sharing your time today. So thanks for that. I mean, obviously it's a choice you're making. I mean, and believing in life currency, it's something that we hold dear, but obviously you're doing that here at TED and doing it in larger ways with your music. And so that's cool, man. I feel like music for me, it can be a very emotional thing, right? You listen to a song and it strikes a certain emotion or anything.
Yeah.
And I always wonder what the artist is going through. But is there a time where you were writing music, or you felt, during a song, that you felt like a sense of vulnerability, or like a sense of, because
not when I'm performing.
Not when you're performing.
No, sir.
Yeah.
No, because if I perform and I get emotional, I lose myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's I lose that even keel that I want to keep. When I'm writing, I definitely write more music when I'm hurt or pissed. That's my fuel. If I'm happy, and I am happy right now, I haven't written a song in a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know why, it just doesn't work. I have to get motivated. And so I try not to be too emotional, but yes, the emotion gets me motivated when it comes to songwriting, especially.
Yeah, that's interesting. The creative process, and to be able to let creative juices flow, that's important. What would you share to other writers or people that are writing their own music? Like, how do you, besides emotion, is there other ways that you tap into that creativity? Is there a certain space in your house that you like to go to? Is there a certain, or does it? How do you take
I write
that
in the
inspo?
shower.
Oh, really?
I do.
Nice.
I'm taking showers. I hear the music. I hear the water falling, and it puts me in a very peaceful place. And that's where my melodies are born. I start humming, and something starts coming, and I'm like, yeah, and then I get then I reach out my phone, right? My hand's all wet, and I start pushing the voice recorder, and I record it, and that's how songs are normally made. But songwriting's an art. There's no formula for it. There's people that start off with a melody and then they come up with the words. There's people who start off with the words, they come up with a melody later. So it's really a personal thing. And all I can say is there's songwriters and then there's songwriters. And the really good songwriters, they live off of that 100%.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why, because they're really good. And so a lot of times people think, I'm a songwriter because I can rhyme 2 words. And that doesn't make you a successful songwriter. Songwriting is not like singing. You can improve your voice and become better, but songwriting is either you have it or you don't. I don't think that songwriters are made; they're born. Artists, yeah, you can really take voice lessons and get better and learn that part, but songwriting is so artistic.
Yeah. That's fascinating, man. Yeah, the creative process is so difficult for some people, and I just think it's just hard. That I think the mind works in different ways, and I think some people just are more susceptible to thinking logically and only logically, and then some people have that creative juices, man. So
yeah, there's horses for courses, definitely.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I heard I overheard you talking with some of the team here. You have a son, graduated finance major? Is that
Actually, I got 4 sons. I got 4 boys.
Nice, man.
I got the conjunto.
I like that.
So my oldest boy is here at SDC at the nursing program.
Great.
And my second boy graduated with a degree in finance and just got his mortgage lending, passed his test, and so he's going to apply to law school. He wants to be a lawyer. I have a student, a son. My third son is Trey. We call him Jose Roberto. Is Jose Roberto the third?
Mm-hmm.
We call him Trey because he's the third son, and he's at UT studying film at the Moody School. And then I have a 5-year-old named Rodrigo.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, I got the full lineup. That's
I got
great.
it all, man.
Yeah.
No girls, though. Yeah. No girls.
Well, congratulations to that, man.
Thank you.
That prompts me to ask, obviously your family, legacy family, there's been a tradition of music, different traditions that y'all have embraced. Is there something personally for Bobby that you feel you are specifically working on to leave behind, or is there something?
Stay tuned.
Yeah?
Yeah, stay tuned.
Nice, man. I like that. Well, with that being said, Bobby,
you'll know why I say stay tuned, but stay tuned.
Well, if there's anything you need to let anybody know, go for it.
Yes,
but
I appreciate that.
But other than that, man, I really enjoyed the time.
Thank you. Me too.
Thanks for being here, and thanks for what you're doing today.
You got it.
Best of luck, Bobby.
Thanks.